I think people are focusing on the growth of supply, but starting last August, you saw the world economy weakening, and you see these recent numbers from China that's telling you weakening, and that means weakening demand. And when King Abdullah gave his statement about a week or so ago and he said the number one reason for this oil crisis or this price decline that's going on is, he said, weakness in global demand. So that's very much on the minds of anybody who wants to be a long-term oil producer. That means Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf states.
You've just got back from China. What was your sense from being there too? Because the oil demand very much linked to construction, to infrastructure, all the places right now where investors are showing concern about China.
You could really feel the slowdown, and you could see it, and the fact that the oil demand is so connected to construction and infrastructure in China, and that's where the weakness is coming from, and a kind of almost dourness about it, particularly towards the last part of 2014.
I want to also ask about the supply reform, the subsidy reform that we're seeing in the likes of India, Indonesia. It's great, but it eliminates the subsidies, of course, but then it raises prices at home, and we know what that does to demand. So that's another knock-on effect here, isn't it?
Exactly. Many countries are taking the opportunity finally to eliminate these subsidies, which have been such a big drain on their budget. But that does mean that the price is going to go up at the pump, and that's going to affect the demand growth. So when you look at this on a global basis, you don't see a lot of places where you're going to see demand coming back. Obviously, the United States is a particular case because there they see the price at the pump. In Europe, so much of the price is taxed. So the U.S. is one place where you'll see a bump.
Interesting that point that you make about Europe. We keep talking about the stimulus effects in Europe, in particular of the oil prices. But you're saying here, look, the tax situation in Europe negates a lot of that.
Yeah, see, in the U.S., that money goes right into the pockets of consumers and then goes into cash registers. In Europe, where does that money go? It goes into the government treasury.
Let's face it, they kind of need it, don't they? Let's flip it onto the Saudi side here in particular, too. I mean, we talk a lot about the top-down leadership structure in the Saudis, but we look at the two most powerful men in the country right now, they're ill. So I just wonder when we look at Al-Nami and we look at the oil minister, whether we're waiting for information perhaps from the wrong people and we have to see a change or at least an improvement in the health of the leaders there before we see a decision.
I think if decisions like this are made by consensus, and it didn't happen overnight, and I think the Saudis, as the other Gulf producers were saying, if we cut in November, we're just going to have to cut again in March because more of that $100 oil will come into the market. So what they really wanted to do is to temper demand and temper supply and stimulate demand.